schools are fucking ruined, and the schools are ruined not because they're out of money, but because we're flooded with Mexicans, and they're not into studying. They don't come from that culture, and we're not asking them to change. That's the thing. We have a culture that is not focused on the schoolwork. It's a different culture. It's, by the way, why their culture is failing in their country. Ironically, it's why they're here. They're here because they ain't into studying. And somebody needs to tell them to get into studying. The family has to get into studying. The families have to be... The family is all you're ever going to use or all you're ever going to need when it comes to this topic. There's just not enough money for the school system. There's not enough principals. You've heard the speech a million times. Families need to take cultures. Basically, what we need to do is go, look, here's our culture. Our culture values family, studying, and hard work and education. That's our culture. Now, you're presumably coming here from a country that does not focus on that as much in your culture. It does not only...
If spring break is to be believed, that's
yes,
true.
It's not just Mexico. It's many cultures. And that's the way it's always been. And then we come here, and then you get involved with our culture, which involves a little more studying and a little more families being intact, and then you live the American dream. Now we're being flooded with cultures who are going, fuck that. We're living our culture. We're just taking our culture and we're just putting it on top of your culture. And by the way, there's more of us than there are of you. So that's the culture. And we have politicians who don't want to fight that culture and don't want to go against that culture. And we have people in the media who be called a bigot the second they suggest that that culture should change to our culture. Our culture is better than your culture. Would you like to know why? You're here. If your culture was better than our culture, then we would be there, or at least you wouldn't be here. So let's first settle the argument of whose culture is better, our culture. That's why you're here. You're here to get a job. You're here to raise a family. You're here to work hard. I get it. Because we created a culture that is superior to your culture. It's hard to argue with that. No one will say a word. Everyone's scared to talk but me. But we all know it. We all realize it. No one wants to say anything, but we can't talk about it, but we know it. Because you're here. That's how we know. The wind didn't blow you over the border. You're here because we have a better culture. Less corruption, more education.
Fewer heads in duffel bags.
Fewer heads in duffel bags. Is there fucked up things about our culture? Yes. Are there good things about your culture? Yes. But when you stand back and you look at the totality of where you would like your child raised, you go here. Now, if we change this culture to your culture, then we're not going to have our culture, and then we will no longer be where we need to be.
Ever since that Joe Pesci movie, there hasn't been very many heads in duffel bags.
Was it 8 heads in a duffel bag?
They used up all of them.
All right. So California, number 50, but stay the course. Stay the course.
Would you like to know the top 3 best-run states?
Sure.
North Dakota, Wyoming, and Nebraska.
I'm going to Wyoming.
You'll be the only
That's
one
only
there.
number 2?
Yeah. I think I'm going to Wyoming. All right.
You know what's interesting on this? I'm looking at the stats on California. The 10th highest median household income. Yeah. I don't know if you have this number, this information, but I wonder what the 9 higher states are. I'm guessing states where there's government jobs and unions, and probably New York.
Yeah.
Like maybe even Michigan, because there's so many unions out there, or Wisconsin. I don't know.
I don't know, but
for people who are wondering what it is, it's 57,287.
Which is high, and I'm shocked there's 9 higher states.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're doing well in that department. We're just squandering too much fucking money in this state. But anyway, stay the course, everybody. Raise those taxes. Let's see how it all works out.